Hi, you're listening to Everyday Superpower, a place where you can learn how to read body language and efficiently communicate through nonverbal communication. You're going to be able to learn how to identify liars, people who are attracted to you, and you're also going to be able to identify the signals you send out without even being consciously aware, such as the people around you whom you're going to be reading. If you do enjoy the topic at hand and you want to learn a real-life superpower, please click like, click subscribe, and if you have a look at the link down in the bio, you're going to be able to request your own videos based on your own inquiries, and you're going to be able to message me directly, so feel free to check that out. Now, without further ado, the behaviour we're going to check out today is on the image ahead of you, alright? It's called hooding, alright? The hands are behind the head, not necessarily in a self-soothing, neck-rubbing fashion, but in a more comfortable, calm, pillow-esque hold of the head, alright? So the arms are intertwined and a hood is formed with the arms. I like to look at it as a flared snake. Now, I'm from the United Kingdom, so I don't necessarily know which snake I'm trying to reference, but I understand that there's particular snakes with a flared head, and this is what it looks like, okay? So alternate titles would be the catapult. And realistically speaking, just to run down the example, what it means is that both the hands are up and clasped behind the head, okay? The chest is going to be exposed and outwards, and when the chest goes out, the lower back tightens, okay? So the lower back comes in. Obviously you can't see that, but you know, it's 1 and 1 equals 2. So the chest is pushed outwards and the elbows are flared out, alright? This is done in a seated position, okay? It could also be done whilst lying down, as you do see this position when an individual is lying down, but what we're going to be talking about in particular is in a seated position. You're probably going to see this in the workplace if you're in an office of sorts, or where somebody can relax, such as this. What you need to pay attention to is, number one, this is a territorial behaviour, because the body has expanded and started to take up more space. So the flared arms take up space. The legs are more than likely going to be congruent with the rest of the behaviour. So the legs are probably going to be outwards, alright? Whether crossed or not, they're going to be outwards. Alright, so somebody who is resting on a office chair may be pushed back comfortably. Even if it's not a strict office chair, it's like a wooden chair, they may be pushed back on the hind legs of this chair whilst doing this behaviour, feeling comfortable, calm. No one's going to touch them and send them off balance. And if you really want to be sure why they think that no one's going to touch them and why they're essentially fearless in this position, it's because they're exposing their chest, their genitals, their stomach. They're exposing all of these sensitive vital areas which our brain subconsciously tells us to cover up when we're in the face of a potential threat. Alright, so you could also consider it a dominant exposure. Alright, so it's a very dominant position to be in. Now, because this is a dominant position, if you walk into the office, I wouldn't do this around your boss or your superiors or any form of authoritarian figure, okay? Because it can come across as quite a display of power, and you don't really want to wind up the wrong people. And the problem with these displays of power is that on a subconscious basis, an individual will absorb it and feel some sort of way towards you without even being consciously aware themselves, alright? We've had generations and generations and generations of hardwiring whilst having 2 legs, 2 arms, set of hands, set of feet, and a face. We're hardwired at this stage to be able to absorb and understand these behaviours, gestures on a subconscious basis, regardless if we're aware of it on a conscious level, okay? So this is why we're doing these videos and why it's an important tool to learn on a conscious level, because then you can literally understand people rather so than just have a gut feeling or feel some sort of way towards a person for reasons you don't even understand, alright? So it's dominant, it's territorial, it's definitely confident because it's exposing the vital organs, and it is very clearly open body language. Okay, so it's not closed body language where the person is feeling down and out and having to, nullify their existence and create less space for them to live in. They don't care. They take up loads of space. They feel that they are worth it at that moment in time, and they are absolutely fearless to whichever, capability of threat you may be able to bring to the table when in communication with them. They're not bothered. Okay? So the elbows, like the fists, are potential tools as weapons. So you can have a look at, as an isolated instance, you'll be able to have a look at these elbows as weapons, potential threatening, utilization of the elbows. So not only is this a comfortable individual, but it's only reinforcing that statement of power. All right, the king's position. An individual doing this could be potentially arrogant. It is seen by professionals such as lawyers, such as your boss, such as the self-employed when they're relaxing in their own space in front of a computer of such. Okay? And just to finalise, what we've also got going on here is a crotch display. Now, going into the details of the crotch display and the genital display it's not going to be anything new as to what we've talked about. It just completely falls aligned with this behaviour as a whole. So the exposure of the genitals is stating, I'm not scared. I'm in no potential threat, so I can have this exposed. I'm so powerful and I'm so masculine that I'm going to have my genitals exposed. So there is a parallel between this and the man-spreading phenomena, okay, which I've done a video on. If you see this behaviour, just speak to them as you would do. Don't try to challenge this behaviour. And if it's a man communicating with a man, try not to stand square with this individual. You don't want to have a chest-to-chest, stomach-to-stomach interaction. You want to stand angular to this individual when communicating, okay? Otherwise, you could trigger some degree of fear response. I hope you enjoyed this. If you like it, click like, subscribe. Click the link in my bio to ask your own questions. Goodbye.